Ayesha had always believed that life had a strange way of testing people. After her father died and her younger brother fell sick, she had no choice but to start working as a housemaid in a wealthy household. It was a home far bigger than anything she had ever stepped into: polished floors, sparkling mirrors, tall windows, and silent hallways that carried loneliness more than luxury. She entered the house with trembling steps and a tired heart, hoping only for work, not realizing that fate had already begun writing a different story for her. The owner of the house, Zayan, was a man who rarely smiled. Life had left scars on him too: his broken marriage, his distant family, and the heavy silence that filled his home every evening. To everyone else, he was just a wealthy, strict man. To himself, he was simply someone trying to survive the weight of his own emptiness. On her first day, Ayesha noticed how quiet he was, how he walked like he was carrying 1,000 thoughts at once. She tried her best to stay out of his way, doing her chores quietly and respectfully. But destiny, as always, had its own plans. It started with small moments. One morning, she was dusting the living room when she heard him coughing badly. She rushed with a glass of water without thinking twice. He paused, surprised, and then accepted it with a gentle nod. It was the first time their eyes met, his tired, hers nervous, and something unspoken hung between them. Days turned into weeks, and slowly, silently, their lives began to intertwine. Ayesha noticed things about him that no one else had bothered to see. He often skipped meals, worked late into the night, and sometimes sat alone on the balcony looking lost. She would quietly leave tea for him on the table and walk away before he noticed. But he always did, and for the first time in years, someone's small acts of care began softening him. Zayan, too, started noticing her. The way she hummed softly while working, how she looked after everyone without expecting anything in return, how her presence brought warmth into the house he had once called empty. She had a kindness that reminded him what it felt like to breathe again. One rainy evening, the power went out, filling the house with darkness. Ayesha was lighting candles in the hallway when she slipped on the wet floor. Before she could fall, Zayan's hand caught her arm firmly, pulling her toward him. For a moment, both stood frozen, her breath unsteady, his heartbeat louder than the rain outside. She tried to step back, embarrassed, but he didn't let go immediately. There was concern in his eyes, a concern she had never expected from him. "You should be careful," he said softly, surprising even himself with his tone. "I'm sorry," she whispered, her voice shaking. "You don't have to apologize for everything," he replied gently. Something shifted that night. A line had been crossed, not of wrongness, but of two lonely hearts recognizing each other. After that, he began talking to her more, asking if she had eaten, if her brother was doing better, if she needed help, and though she tried to stay professional, something warm slowly began blooming inside her chest, something she didn't want to name. Love isn't always loud, sometimes it grows in the spaces between two people, like light slipping through a cracked door. One day, Ayesha was cleaning the garden when she suddenly felt dizzy. Before she could collapse, Zayan rushed toward her, worry tightening every feature of his face. He carried her inside and made her sit on the sofa, bringing juice and checking her forehead like someone who cared too much to pretend otherwise. "You work too much," he said, sounding upset. "You never take care of yourself." "I'm fine," she whispered, avoiding his eyes. "No, Ayesha, you're not." His voice softened. "You don't have to fight alone." Those words broke something inside her, something she had kept locked away for years. Tears filled her eyes, surprising them both. She tried to hide her face, but he knelt in front of her and gently wiped her tears. "Ayesha, tell me what's hurting you." And she did. For the first time, she spoke about her father, her brother, her struggles, her fears. And he listened, truly listened, like no one ever had. When she finished, he placed a hand over hers, his touch warm and steady. "You're strong," he said softly. "Stronger than you think." She looked into his eyes, and for the first time, she saw not a strict homeowner, she saw a man with a heart capable of deep, quiet love. Days passed, and their bond only grew. She healed him with her kindness, he healed her with his care. They found comfort in each other, not through grand gestures but through simple moments, sharing tea, talking under the balcony light, smiling at each other across the hallway. One evening, as she packed her things to go home, he stood near the door silently. She looked up, confused. "Will you be here tomorrow?" he asked. "Yes, of course. He paused, searching for words. I feel lighter when you're around. Her heart skipped a beat. She had heard many things in her life, orders, complaints, demands, but never something like this. Zayan, sir, she whispered. He shook his head. Just Zayan. Her breath trembled. Why are you saying this? Because I can't keep pretending I don't feel something for you, he confessed softly. Something real. Something I haven't felt in years. Silence filled the room, warm and fragile. Ayesha felt her chest tighten, not with fear, but with a love she had tried so hard to hide. She stepped closer, her voice barely a whisper. I feel it too. He closed his eyes as if the words themselves healed every wound in him. Without crossing any wrong boundaries, he simply took her hand in his, a gesture respectful, gentle, and full of promise. Let's heal together, he said softly. And in that moment, two hearts that had suffered alone finally found home in each other. Not through wealth, not through status, but through pure, honest, healing love. Hey everyone, if you enjoy my content, please consider subscribing to my YouTube channel. I'd really appreciate it and it would mean a lot to me. Thanks for watch.